Hey, welcome back. I was just checking my email and came across something interesting. Let me share it. Here's the first message from my book club buddy, Jenna. I couldn't wait to get some more fantasy books at the library today, but when I got there, it was closed. No sign of anyone around, just a notice on the door. I wandered around, totally confused. Why would the library be closed in the middle of the week? Weird, right? I was thinking, she's right. The library closed in the middle of the week. How confusing. But then I noticed this email, our community newsletter. Due to ongoing roadwork, several neighborhood locations, including the library and community center, will be closed until further notice. Construction crews are working to repair major water lines beneath Main Street, making it unsafe for foot traffic. Updates will be posted as the work progresses. Did you notice how the point of view in each email really changed what we learned? Jenna's email felt super personal. We knew exactly what she was thinking and feeling. But because we only had her point of view, we were just as confused as she was. Then we read the newsletter, which gave us the big picture explanation that Jenna didn't know. Suddenly, our confusion was gone. This is what we're doing today, comparing different points of view and recognizing how they influence the story. Let's dive in. When writing, authors make choices about point of view, or who's telling the story. Point of view determines how much we know, what details are shared, and how we connect with the characters. There are many different points of view, but today we'll focus on two. First person, the narrator is a character in the story using I and me. We only know what this character knows and feels. It's like stepping right into their shoes and seeing the story through their eyes. And third person. The narrator isn't a character in the story, but they know a lot about the characters and events. They can tell us what different people are thinking or feeling, and in some cases even know what's going on in everyone's minds. Let's go back to those emails to see how point of view works. Jenna's email is in first person. She's using the word I, and we only know what she knows. No wonder we were confused about the library being closed. This is different from the newsletter, right? The newsletter is in third person, giving details Jenna didn't know, like that construction caused the closure. Authors use point of view to decide how much we, as readers, know about the story and whose perspective we're stepping into. Take a look at the points of view in the first few sentences of these books. I stood by the edge of the mat, watching the other gymnasts finish their routines. My stomach felt like it was full of butterflies. I couldn't believe it was almost my turn. Evan glanced up at the scoreboard, his hands gripping the rings. He couldn't decide if he should attempt his new move or stick to what he already knew. Across the gym, his coach gave him an encouraging nod, waiting for him to begin. What do you think? Which one is first person and which one is third person? Pause to write your thoughts. This is first-person point of view, because the narrator uses I and my, so we're hearing the story from their perspective. This book is third-person point of view, because the narrator is telling us about Evan from the outside, using he and him and cluing us into the coach's encouraging feelings. When you read a story, clues like I, or he, she, and they can help you figure out the point of view. Let's see how point of view is used in Peter Pan. One of the coolest things about our Peter Pan story is that the author mixes points of view. Take a look. Peter tore open the drawers, tossing clothes everywhere. He found his shadow at last, but when he tried to stick it to himself, it wouldn't stay. He pressed it to his feet, used soap from the bathroom. Nothing worked. Peter's lips trembled, and before he knew it, he sat on the floor and cried. Tinker Bell felt like he was being a bit dramatic, but of course she did not say that. Well, actually she did, but Peter was too busy crying to hear her. What's the point of view in this passage? This is third-person point of view. Referring to the characters as he and she shows the narrator is telling the story from the outside. I think it's so cool that the author mostly writes from a third-person point of view in Peter Pan. It lets us jump into and understand everyone's frame of mind. Peter's in one sentence and Tink's in the next. Sometimes in this story, the author chooses to switch to a new point of view, as if a character is the one telling the story. It adds to the fun and whimsical mood of the story. Let's see how that happens. If you could peek inside Peter's mind at this very moment, you'd find a tangle of frustration and fierce determination. Let us listen to him now. This is ridiculous. I can't believe this. Shadows are supposed to stick. Everyone knows that. What kind of shadow runs off in the first place? Not fair at all. I will just ignore the prickling at the corners of my eyes. Boys don't cry, not boys like me. It's just the shadow being stubborn. Not me. Never me. And yet here I sit crying, clutching my unruly shadow. What does that sound? Like tiny bells. Oh, it's just Tink. I wonder what she's laughing at over there. Notice how the author switched to first-person point of view for this scene. Now we're hearing Peter's thoughts in his own words. We're inside his head, experiencing his thoughts and feelings as they happen. Would we still feel as connected to Peter's frustration with a third-person point of view? Pause to write down your ideas. I'm thinking if the author continued with a third-person point of view, we might not feel Peter's frustration as strongly. We'd only read something like, Peter was frustrated. But in first person, we hear his thoughts about shadows running off and his determination not to cry, which makes his emotions feel more real. At the same time, because we're inside Peter's mind, we no longer know what Tink is thinking or feeling. Tink's perspective, and why she's laughing, is a mystery to us. Next, the author switches back to third person. Peter was still overwhelmed with sorrow. His sobs woke Wendy, who sat up, curious to see a boy crying on her nursery floor. Boy, she asked politely, why are you crying? Ooh, see how here we know what both Peter and Wendy are thinking? How might this scene feel different if it were told entirely from Wendy's first-person point of view? How might we see Peter differently if we only saw him through Wendy's eyes? Pause one more time to write your ideas. I'm thinking if this scene were told entirely from Wendy's perspective, we wouldn't know why Peter was crying. We'd only see what Wendy sees. A boy sitting on the floor sobbing. Without Peter's thoughts, we could assume he's sad, but we wouldn't understand his frustration with his shadow. Seeing Peter through Wendy's eyes alone might make him feel more mysterious. Different points of view help us understand different aspects of the characters and how they feel about the story's events. Great work today! We explored how authors use point of view to shape what we know and how we feel as readers. As you keep reading Peter Pan, pay attention to where the narrator shifts point of view. How does the story feel different? What do we know or not know? Add your observations to your book club notes. Until next time, happy reading and keep working on those goals. Bye! Hey, hey.